Dudes. We're back with another week of the CIL, week 5 against Coach Mad Mike Nebbia of the Hartford Wailords. He's got a super scary team. He's got Mega Charizard X, Weavile, Azu, Cress, T-Tar, Decidueye, Dragonite, Greninja, Torrent, Crobat, Venomoth, Steelix, and he actually has Electrium Z. Groundium Z's from the previous week. He's still trying to get that one caught up. But Electrium Z, which could be bad news for Manaphy or Torn or something if like Dragonite has T-Bolt or Thunderfang on Steelix even, like something crazy. I think T-Tar gets Thunderbolt. I don't know. But he's got options if he decides to bring it. We are super weak to his setup mons, Venomoth and Azu in particular, and Zardex, of course. If any of those things get set up, they kind of run through our team. So how do we prepare for that? By whipping up a heat squad of our own. We've got Big Mama, Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Whirlwind, Toxic, Max Fizz Def because it's never 2-hit KO'd by Flare Blitz unless he gets a crit, and it's kind of our only response to Zard X. We have to lead with it because if he leads Zard X and I lead something else, I can't switch into it too well because okay, well, I can. So if he gets to +1, I can take a Flare Blitz, and Earthquake will KO with the recoil in return. But I have to take so much damage in order for that to happen. So I definitely want to lead Big Mama, make sure that she's as healthy as possible to take on that very scary Zardex. She's also here to set up the sand for her sand sister Guacamole. Sandcore back again. Earthquake, Rockslide, Shadow Claw, Swords Dance. We're speed creeping Adamant Dragonite with this. Paso Berry because we want to live in Aqua Jet from Azu. Don't want it slowing down our sweeps. Swords Dance and Shadow Claw because that's the only way we can really deal with Cress, and the rest is pretty standard. We got 4 attacks, a Life Orb, Cure in Black, Fusion Bolt, Ice Beam, Earth Power, Dragon Claw. This is an interesting spread. We speed creep Timid Venomoth with a 216. The 56 always 2-hit KOs Steelix with Earth Power, if I recall correctly. The 196 always 2-hit KOs max HP. The 56 is first, but F Steelix. The 196 always 2-hit KOs max HP Azu with Fusion Bolt. And I think the rest was just dumped into HP for the heck of it. We've got Manaphy. Manaphy's pretty standard. Tail Glow, Surf, Ice Beam, Hidden Power Electric. Hidden Power Electric was preferred over Energy Ball because Mike has used Sap Sipper Azu in the past. He used it to take on a Ferrothorn reasonably well, and I don't think too many people would be like, oh yeah, Azu can take on Ferrothorn. So if it can take on that, it could probably take on Manaphy, and I don't want to give it any more setup opportunities than it already has. So Hidden Power Electric covers my bases just to make sure. Again, we're speed creeping the old Timid Venomoth there. And once this sets up, it should do a lot of work. Also outruns Adamant Zard if that's the one he brings. I would bring Jolly if I were him, but you never really know. And of course, Cletus is coming. She's max defense unaware because that's our only way to deal with Azu. That's our only counter to Azu, really. If he's Sap Sipper, we are so good. But I'm expecting huge power, and if that's the case, then I believe Play Rough does a max of like 43% or something like that. And since we're unaware, it doesn't matter if he belly jumps up. Moonblast, Protect Toxic Wish. We want to Toxic the Cresselia and things on the switch. Pass Wishes around to maybe Frosty if he gets worn down by Life Orb. Who knows? But Cletus is here to support her team and take care of the Azu. And finally, we have Iron Mantis rocking the Swords Dance, Bullet Punch, U-Turn, and Roost. I know a lot of people might think Swords Dance and U-Turn is weird. It's really not, but some people might think it is, and that's because I expect this is going to be my counter for like Weavile and Cresselia and stuff like that, and I don't expect those things to want to stay in, so I feel like U-Turn is going to be great for getting some momentum. We are Fizz Def to help take on the Weavile better, and a lot of bulk to help so we can find more setup opportunities like Cresselia and Decidueye and Dragonite without Flamethrower and that type of thing. And we're light metal in case Weavile has low kick and we can switch into it better. So that's the team. It feels very tenuous because the set of sweepers are so dangerous. So I want to be really careful about how I play. Again, our dedicated lead is old Big Mama. So we're going to hop right into it. We see that he brings Zardex, Cress, Weavile, T-Tar, Decidueye, and Azumarill. So by most accounts, we predicted the team really well. Didn't expect the Weavile, but I see why he brought it because it's it's solid against Hippo. It can do some good damage on Drill, Kyurem, Poison Jab. It can deal with Clefable. So I really only have two decent answers to it. So it's actually made a lot of sense here. We're gonna jump right into it. Again, we're leading the Hippowdon. We have to. It's easier to switch into Azu than Zard, as he does lead the Azu, and immediately we're not playing around. We're going straight into Cletus, because if he belly drums up, we get in essentially for free. Yeah, for free because the sand and leftover should cancel out. He goes for the Aqua Jet to get some damage off. Remember, we need to keep Hippo as healthy as possible. Couldn't afford to take that Aqua Jet, and Cletus can handle this reasonably well. I expected a switch, so I went into Toxic. I clicked Toxic. He stays into Belly Drum. I don't think he saw the sand damage, because Magic Guard is so much more common than Unaware. But I needed Unaware because otherwise the game would have been like over right now. I go for the Wish. Really expected him to switch out there. He goes for the knockoff, and you see it does like 15%. Cletus is so unaware right now. Shout outs to Blue for that joke. He sees the problem, and since I'm so healthy, I decide to go for a Moonblast instead of a Protect. And I catch the T-Tar on the switch in. I think he thought I would Protect there to get more health back, but as you can see, I'm back to full at the end of the turn. He gets his rocks up. Not too big of a concern. We did forego hazard removal, you'll remember, but I'm not worried about it. I go for the Wish there because I want to see like if he has Iron Tail, I'll live it, and I can Protect and get to full and then switch out accordingly. But he goes into Crest, so I go for the Moonblast, trying to get some chip damage on the T-Tar. It would have KO'd since the sand went away, so he was smart to switch it out. Crest is going to Toxic us. I think he realized now that we're Unaware and not Magic Guard. But we're going to Toxic it back. And unfortunately for him, like that works out better for us because wearing down the Cresselia is a much bigger deal than Cletus, who's definitely not going to stay in right now. We're going to go hard into Scizor, who can take pretty much everything this Cresselia has, barring HP Fire, and we can definitely live one. But I don't expect him to go for it right away on the Clefable. He goes for the Ice Beam. Does next to nothing. You can see all that bulk coming in handy. What did I go for here? Did I set up? I did set up. I went for a Swords Dance in case he decided to stay in, which he did. And he goes for the Psychic, and he gets the Spadef drop. So right now, we're already seeing that the speed that I invested in is coming in handy because otherwise I wouldn't be able to make this play right here. He switches out, seeing the threat, and I don't know for sure, but I assume he decided, I'm going to sack Weavile. He is the most expendable member. Because I go for the U-turn. If he was Sash, that would have been a really good play. Maybe I would have gone into Hippo to just kill it with sand. I don't know. But I just U-turn out of there. Scizor's still fairly healthy, just over half. And remember, we always have Big Mama out in front because I can't give Zard an opportunity to come in for free and set up. He goes out into Decidueye. Decide to mix things up from the Azu, and I get out of there. I'm not dealing with the Decidueye, guys. I see this as an opportunity to roost up with Scizor. And he goes for, what does he go for? He goes for Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade does 4% to Scizor. So, yeah, free opportunity to roost up. He can Spirit Shackle me. I have U-turn if I need to get out of there. I'm not too worried about it. We get almost up to full. He decides to go for the Confuse Ray, which has me confused because I don't think Confuse Ray is that great of a move. It can be, but it can also be completely useless. Like you're literally rolling the dice here with that one. Excuse the plane that just flew by. I go for the Bullet Punch just to get damage. I definitely don't want to Swords Dance up while I'm confused. He also gets a Spadef drop, which is unfortunate because now I can't really take on this Decidueye all that well. I decide here to switch out into Manaphy. I don't think he's going to go for Leaf Blade in front of a Scizor. You never know. He could have predicted that, seeing this Spadef drop, but at this point, Manaphy's like the most expendable member of the team, which is crazy to say. We take the Shadow Ball reasonably well. I decided, we got to get some chip damage on this Decidueye so that Scizor can maybe come in and pick it off. Kyurem or Excadrill can come in and pick it off. And he goes for the Leaf Blade, KO's Manaphy. I thought I might live. I thought there might be a chance. I haven't calced it. Honestly, don't care. It doesn't matter. the Spadef drop put me in that position regardless, and Leaf Blade has a better chance to crit. So even if it didn't KO, like he had that crit chance. I go into Excadrill because I want to keep. What do I want to keep out there? Cresselia? I don't know. I just go for the Shadow Claw because I know it kills. Actually, it almost kills from full because of how beefy Guacamole is. She's gonna go for the Earthquake, and I don't think he realized he was setting up Sand for Guacamole when he did this. Maybe he had like the Earth Power and thought he might live or something, but he does not. The Zard is in. We hit the red button. We go right out into Big Mama. She's at 94%. So with the leftovers, she's guaranteed to live 2 Flare Blitzes. But if I get burned or if he crits, that's really bad news for me. Especially since I'm wasting Sand turns to do this. There's only 3 left after this, so I'd get like 1 with Excadrill. I think I would sack something if I had to. Probably Cletus, to be honest. But I don't have to. Big Mama takes the hits pretty well. Fires back kills with the Earthquake. Big Mama. What a defensive... Big Mama's got to be up for defensive MVP this year for sure. Azu comes in. We switch out into the dedicated counter. There's really nothing that the Azu can really do as long as Clefable's around. You see even a crit does 32%. So Cletus is doing her job amazingly well. She is keeping the team afloat against this threat. He goes for another Aqua Jet, trying to get some damage off. Cletus just goes for the Moonblast to pick up the KO, which leaves a Toxic Cresselia versus the rest of the team. And I could have let Cletus go down here. She's only at 8%. She can't really do anything, but differential is a thing. And the difference in 4 versus 5 may not be enough, may not be much, but for all I know, it could have been, if I didn't have to sack Manaphy, for all I know, it could have been 6. So I don't want to risk it, especially because like we are not undefeated. There is an undefeated team, but we also have the highest differential, guys. Let's keep it going. Like, why not? And plus, Scissor counters so well. I know pretty much its whole moveset. I did not see Moonlight until this turn, but I assumed that was Psychic and Moonblast and Toxic. It was pretty safe to guess that it wasn't packing the HP Fire. Which means Iron Mantis is going to take this game. We can Swords Dance up. There's nothing this Crest can do, even with Spadef drops. Look at that Psychic did 13%. Might do 20% if he got a Spadef drop. And we're going to keep SDing up. So at this point, this is somewhat of a misplay. At this point, I should have bullet punched into U-turn because that definitely KOs. And it takes the same amount of turns as what I do, which is Sword Stance to +6 and click U-turn. But if he had Ice Beamed and he froze Iron Mantis and I didn't thaw out, I could have lost it, which would have been, completely counterproductive to the whole differential thing. Fortunately, he didn't go for the Ice Beam. He pretty much called it at that point and decided to let Cresselia go down. So we're able to pick up a 5-0 win against a really threatening team. And Mike has improved so much as a coach over the years, so I didn't doubt his ability to beat me at all. Actually, if you talk to Blue or Mav, you'll know that we put a fair amount of thought into trying to come up with the best team possible. And I almost took Cletus out at the last minute because of how scared I was of the Venomoth. But ultimately, I decided Azu was equally dangerous and, in my opinion, more likely to come. And it worked out for us this time as we're able to notch the W. That brings our record to 4-1. We have a differential of 18, which is the highest in the league, like I mentioned. So we are sitting pretty good, but our schedule gets no easier as time progresses. We play Chase next week. Chase has a scary team, and he's sitting at 4-1 too. And my last 2 games are against Kyle, coach of the Cobbleskill Charizards, and Tony, coach of something, I can't remember, something Surf. He's one of our interim coaches there. So yeah, like I said, it doesn't get any easier, but stick around. We're going for playoffs here. We didn't make the playoffs last year. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm still a little salty, but hey, we're doing good in Season 3, and we ended Season 5 here with a solid win. So there's a lot to celebrate, And that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a good... Lord, do you guys hear those plates dropping? Someone out here is like weightlifting like crazy. They're just throwing plates around, I guess. Maybe they're not actually weightlifting. I don't know. All right, guys. That's enough rambling. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time.